He arrived with a stopwatch, reputation, and certainty, carrying the authority of European football, convinced Filipino players lacked the explosive speed required for elite competition. The claim was not shouted, but it landed heavily, spoken with calm confidence, the kind that closes doors quietly before anyone realizes opportunity has already disappeared. This was a scout shaped by Serie systems, where numbers defined futures and milliseconds separated prospects from professionals across a continent built on precision. He had seen thousands of players, timed hundreds of sprints, and trusted his data more than emotion, believing raw pace could not emerge from unfamiliar environments. To him, speed was structured, refined, predictable, something developed inside academies with resources, not discovered on humid fields far from European systems and expectations. The players listened without interruption, their expressions controlled, their reactions restrained, because they understood something deeper, that arguments would not change what had already been decided. What they carried was not anger, but a quiet refusal, a determination shaped over years of being overlooked, measured incorrectly, and dismissed before being fully seen. No one raised their voice, no one challenged him directly. But a decision formed silently, one that would not rely on words, only undeniable evidence. They invited him back the next morning, not for a match, not for drills, but for something simpler, a controlled sprint, measured, timed, impossible to dispute. The scout accepted, almost casually, expecting confirmation rather than contradiction, confident the outcome would reinforce everything he already believed about speed and global football standards. The field was prepared before sunrise, timing gates aligned carefully, cones placed with precision, every variable controlled to ensure no excuses could follow what was about to happen. There was no crowd, no noise, only a few players, a coach and a scout, standing quietly with a stopwatch, waiting for proof of what he expected. The runner stepped forward without introduction, a lean frame, steady breathing, no theatrics, no attempt to impress, only focus shaped by something deeper than validation. The scout observed closely, his posture relaxed, his confidence unshaken, already anticipating numbers that would confirm the limits he believed defined this region. Instructions were simple: a straight sprint, 30 meters, full effort, electronic timing, no variables left to interpretation, no room for debate once the numbers appeared. The runner nodded once, stepping back to the starting line, placing his feet carefully, eyes forward, the silence around him becoming heavier with each passing second. There was no dramatic build, no speech, just a whistle cutting to the still air, marking the exact moment everything would either confirm or collapse. He moved instantly, not gradually, not cautiously, but explosively, his first step cutting into ground with force that shifted the entire atmosphere. Within seconds, the space between expectation and reality began to shrink, his acceleration sharp, efficient, controlled. Each stride building momentum with quiet, relentless precision. The scout's posture changed slightly. Subtle at first, a shift in attention, his eyes narrowing as the runner covered distance faster than anticipated. 10 meters passed almost unnoticed, the speed not exaggerated, not chaotic, but clean, mechanical, the kind that does not rely on effort, only execution. The runner did not look strained, his movement smooth, his breathing controlled, his form intact, as if the pace he carried was something completely natural. At 20 meters, the difference became undeniable, not dramatic, but measurable, the kind of margin that forces reconsideration without needing explanation or justification. The finish came quickly, almost too quickly, the final step crossing the line before the moment could fully settle, leaving behind only silence and data. The timing system beeped softly, displaying numbers without emotion, without context, just raw information waiting to be interpreted by someone who trusted numbers above everything. The scout looked down immediately, expecting confirmation, but what he saw did not align with the assumptions he carried into this quiet field. He checked again, leaning closer, his expression tightening slightly, not disbelief yet, but uncertainty beginning to replace the confidence he arrived with. No one spoke. No one reacted. The players remained still, allowing the moment to unfold naturally, understanding that the numbers would speak louder than any response. The scout walked toward the timing gates, inspecting the equipment carefully, searching for error, for misalignment, for anything that could explain what he had just seen. But the system was correct, calibrated, precise, leaving no space for doubt, only a result that contradicted everything he believed about regional athletic limitations. He stood there quietly, holding the device in his hand, staring at the recorded time as if repetition might change its meaning or reduce its impact. The runner stepped aside, offering no celebration, no acknowledgement, simply returned to the group as if the performance required no explanation or recognition. This was not about proving superiority. It was about revealing something overlooked, something dismissed too quickly by systems that value familiarity over possibility. The scout finally spoke, his voice lower now, less certain, asking for another run, not as a challenge, but as confirmation of what he could not ignore. The runner agreed without hesitation, returning to the line, preparing again with the same calm focus, unaffected by what had already been achieved. The second whistle came, sharper this time, and once again, the movement was immediate, explosive, consistent, repeating the same level of controlled acceleration. There was no drop, no hesitation. The performance matched the first, reinforcing what the numbers had already suggested with quiet, undeniable clarity. The scout did not move this time. He watched fully, his attention fixed, no longer searching for flaws, only observing what was clearly in front of him. When the time appeared again, slightly different but equally impressive, the confirmation was complete, removing any remaining doubt from the equation entirely. He exhaled slowly, lowering the stopwatch, his posture no longer rigid, the certainty he carried replaced with something quieter, something closer to reconsideration. No apology came immediately, no dramatic admission, just a shift, subtle but undeniable, visible in the way he now looked at the players. He asked questions instead, about training, about development, about conditions, trying to understand how something he had dismissed could exist so clearly. The answers were simple: consistent effort, limited resources, self-driven improvement. Nothing extraordinary, except perhaps the persistence required to keep going without recognition. What changed was not the players, but a perspective, the realization that systems can overlook what they do not expect to find. The scout nodded slowly, processing not just a performance, but the implications, understanding that this was not an isolated case, but a gap in evaluation. His report would change, not dramatically, not publicly, but in detail, in tone, in the subtle adjustments that influence decisions beyond a single moment. The players returned to training quietly, the field returning to its usual rhythm, as if nothing significant had happened at all. But something had shifted, not visibly, not loudly, but in a way that would travel far beyond this field, into reports, into conversations, into future opportunities. The scout remained a little longer, observing differently now, not searching for confirmation, but open to discovery in places he once overlooked. What he witnessed was not just speed, but discipline, control, and efficiency, qualities that translate across systems when given a chance to be seen. There were no cameras capturing reactions, no audience applauding. Only a quiet understanding that something important had just been corrected. The runner never spoke about the moment, never claimed it, because the goal was never recognition, only truth measured in time and distance. For years, assumptions had moved faster than evidence, shaping narratives at limited opportunity without being challenged by real data. That morning, one sprint did not change everything, but it interrupted certainty, forcing at least one voice to reconsider what he thought he knew. And sometimes that is enough. Not a revolution, not a dramatic shift, just a quiet correction that begins to open space where there was none. The field emptied slowly, the equipment packed away, leaving behind no visible trace of what had taken place. But the numbers remained recorded, undeniable, carried forward into decisions that would shape futures far beyond this quiet training ground. Speed had not changed that day. It had always been there, waiting to be measured correctly, waiting to be taken seriously. What changed was recognition, the willingness to see without assumption, to measure without bias, to allow reality to replace expectation. And in that quiet moment, without celebration or confrontation, Filipino speed did not argue. It simply ran, and in doing so, it was finally seen.